had a dream that I was hanging artworks in this hall where we are now standing, and someone asked me whose exhibition it was. I said that it was my father Jarji's and my exhibition. When I woke up, I realized that everything contains a certain meaning. The title of the exhibition is Scene at the Bridge. The exhibition is a kind of crown of the artistic quest, from which we emerged with our trophy. It's a kind of net that has to be cast, and it can so happen that a fish is caught. We are looking for each other in this world, but how do we reach one another? How to make our voices heard in time and space? Through our art, right? As such, it is essential for an artist to reach his brothers and sisters around the world through his artworks, so that we can find each other and relate something very important. I'm the only person who can say exactly what I want to say. That which is so important, it's worth fighting for. People say that in darkness, the stars shine brighter. They are more visible, even in the midst of hardship. I believe that this is true. Spiritual help from divine beings, from the world we have hope in, comes down closer to the earth in times of adversity. The main thing is that we maintain interest in this world. For sure, my relationship with my father is sacred to me, a power that continues until this day. I feel it. I believe that people do not meet by chance, do not get to know each other by chance, and are not born into the same family by chance, because something unites us. Isn't it one of our missions to discover what binds us together, what issues we have to solve together? Georgian and I went through a lot together. We talked a lot. These conversations continue, of course, even today. The process is internal. It is a spiritual experience. Thus, human connections are more spiritual than physical. We just don't think about it often. Accordingly, when a person passes away, these connections are not lost.
Anton appears to be following in Jarji's footsteps as he attempts to build a model of the world. However, these two somewhat comparable worlds are quite different. Anton conveys the key elements of his world more as a signal and pays close attention to its entirety. Even though his world is much more dramatic than that of Jarji Balanchivadze, who communicated these values to the audience in a softer, more fanciful language. We are currently interacting with artists from two very significant yet distinct artistic universes, and they both introduce us to this unique world.
It is what we perceive as a detail. What we commonly refer to as a detail can frequently be the most important factor, while the rest appear to be details, since it is from these nuances that the entire world is created. The right word could alter the course of my existence. It may be a small nuance from this perspective, similar to a faint tone in painting. Is the right name, isn't it? There are many interpretations of why it is named so, but I like it. I like to connect the situations when a person, I mean one of us, goes out of the city and is left alone with his thoughts and work, right? And this place is associated with a very important era, the 13th century. Very important things happen here. It's like traveling in time. Generally, a path that you don't know where it will lead is always interesting. When we arrive at a forest, we observe that someone has already passed this way. The environment seems to be a kind of conduit for beings, the ideas that emerge from this environment. By the way, it's remarkable that the designs of nature and the ideas of men are in harmony. What beauty, what wisdom is created. Old Georgian architecture, for example, Jarji Church, is written in that landscape and fulfills the scheme of nature. Nature, the landscape, trees, everything is beautiful. But if nothing is created as a center of gravity in this beauty, everything loses its meaning. This beauty must have an appraiser. If you have experienced some significant beauty within yourself, you must have felt what else is needed. What steps need to be taken? What is this beauty telling you? Beauty is unceasing. It is not something finished. It is an ongoing process. Nature always continues in its metamorphosis. Any tree, any mountain can be recognized. The feeling that this living process of creation is actively following the perception of beauty. Without it, everything is static, destructive, and meaningless. Balance is very important. In general, Georgia needs balance, because we are at the center of the world, and Georgians have different temperaments. I, for example, am sanguine. That is a person who starts something, then wants to do something else, then gets bored and starts something new. I keep fighting with myself to get attached to something and force myself to be where I don't want to be. For example, it is necessary to read, and suddenly I know that something very interesting is happening, but somehow I try to bring my task to some logical conclusion. Painting is the same, but everything exaggerated is bad. Even philosophy, right? Sometimes you want to play football. If I watch Wishakwaratskelia, I forget about everything. I go and watch the match because I'm interested in it. This phenomenon, which suddenly appeared in the form of one man in Georgia, lifted the whole country, the mood of the entire nation, as if one person's talent, self-belief, humility, and loyalty to principles created an era against the dangers of war and aggression even. This is not only about football. When I see that a Georgian man is winning, when our brother, friend, son is playing, I feel motivated to paint because I am oriented towards someone, something. I feel that someone played and won. This is important. This is power. While working, whether he likes it or not, a person, on the one hand, goes deeper into his own self, and on the other hand, goes beyond it. I'd connect the working process more with self-searching, perhaps because I know very little about myself apart from my biography. The more a person plunges into questions about himself, the more he realizes how wisely the whole world is organized, since everything is an amazing mystery. It's cool and captivating. I work at night, and I turn on the light. Sometimes I come here at 5 a.m. No one is forcing me to. I think about why I want to paint. People do something. Who needs this painting? For what? But then, you know, when a person climbs a lighthouse and turns on the light over the sea, he knows that someone might need it. I used to come here, and when I turned on this light and started working, I thought that maybe no one needed it. But then I realized there might be at least one person somewhere who sees that this light comes on every night and I am working, and maybe this is something, and that encouraged me. While painting, I turn on an audiobook. In short, the main character appears. It's nighttime. I hear from the audiobook that it's 2 a.m. And at that time I looked at the clock. It was 2, and I felt something, and thought about what would happen if in reality an old friend of mine turned up and knocked on my door wanting to talk with me. Suddenly I hear in the audiobook Hermann Hesse saying that the main character came and said, what would happen if I had a friend, an artist, who is somewhere high up in a building? If only I knew that I'd make him happy with my visit. It would be cool. I'd go up, drink tea with him, and talk until morning about something very important, very interesting. I felt that this person had experienced it. And do you know how it affected me? I realized that there might be a connection in time and space even. Everything is connected. Everything is very important because painting, writing, all fields of art have the ability to create certain invisible connections between people in time and space. Every one of us has their own landscapes in their past life, in the previous life, as well as in the future. And if our conversations are deep or important, these landscapes may even overlap. When we travel together and start our short journey, we transverse the spiritual landscape. For some people, this spiritual landscape is an abstraction, but for me, it is an absolute reality, much more real than if you put me physically somewhere on a path, because if we walk on the path with a dormant consciousness, nothing makes sense. But if we are active internally, then we follow the spiritual landscape along with this path. This path leads us to such true issues, which ignite with new meaning. In painting, this is expressed through color.